So anybody who knows me will know that I was not looking forward to today's game, not even in the slightest. When Arsenal were on their game, they'll beat anybody in the world. And I really felt like this was their chance to get back at Liverpool today. But I think in common Arsenal fashion over the last couple of seasons, whenever it has actually really counted and wherever they've really had a pivotal moment in their season, they have come up short. And thankfully today was another one of those moments against what I got to say, to be honest with you, was a really well-organised, great performance from a West Ham United team. For anybody who's not aware, the score was Arsenal 0, West Ham United 1, a scoreline which I think, to be honest with you, I think actually represents the game quite well. Now, normally in these kind of scenarios, certainly under David Moyes, I would have said it would have been a bit of a smash and grab and, something that I don't think we would have necessarily deserved, and we just kind of steal one at the end, right? Now, this one wasn't quite so cut and dry as that. I felt like we looked really, really confident on the ball and incredibly confident and solid off the ball today. I felt that we closed all of the gaps really well. There was great backup whenever we decided to push forward. We had players slotting in place behind so that whenever we were beaten with one player, we always had a backup. So it was a really good team performance today. We were really complementing each other really, really well. As I said, really, really disciplined, something that, certainly under Lopetegui, I feel that, we were definitely missing. We would sort of go all out attack pretty much, not unlike, I think, when actually it was not so dissimilar to the Moyes team. No, I can't remember what year, it was a couple of seasons ago now, where we started playing a bit more on the front foot, where Rice was coming in playing a bit more of an attacking role, and obviously Souček was kind of hung out to dry in those kind of scenarios, and people would just play through us, and we'd always get caught out, and we just weren't scoring really many goals at all, even though we were committing a lot of people up front. Now, as I said, like this time we were building up our play nice and slow and measured, so that we made sure that we kept our shape. So that, as I mentioned just previously, right, if we lose the ball in a slightly higher position, we've still got a good shape for when we, essentially when we get counter-attacked, right? Which is a vast improvement on last week, when pretty much everything that happened to us was on a counter-attack, and we always looked like Brentford were going to score. Look, I mean, to be honest, if Arsenal were going to score at all this game, you felt like it would have been some kind of a pinball situation. So in the box, 15 odd people in there, ball just pinging about, and then it just, hits someone on the nose and goes in. That's kind of how it felt like. If Arsenal were going to score, it was going to be either that, or it was going to be a snapshot from outside the 18-yard box, equal bit of luck and brilliance. But other than that, to be honest, I really didn't see it happening. Certainly once we started getting past the sort of 60th minute, they did look threatening, but I think some of that might just be being a West Ham fan, right? And just kind of expecting that, we're 1-0 up, and that's a very shaky foundation, right? That, 1-0 normally means 2-1 to the opposition from a West Ham perspective. Certainly it does for me, at least. But yeah, sure. Look, I'm a pessimist, and I don't mind admitting that, especially today when there's all the reason for optimism, right? And I think it's really important that when we do get a result like this, to remain optimistic and not to think about all the reasons why it could go wrong again in the future, right? So we have a couple of games coming up, and look, I think Rice had a really bad game, actually. I don't know. I mean, we're a couple of seasons removed now, and I do wonder whether or not the occasion gets to him in these kind of scenarios. Certainly today, I felt like, they didn't get the goal early. They weren't sort of looking particularly solid. They weren't looking particularly threatening on the attack either. And there was a few times that Rice made maybe some individual decisions that weren't so great that he would have got hounded for in a West Ham shirt. And look, I think he was very much not, I wouldn't say at fault. I would say, but he was a significant factor in our goal. He just wasn't paying attention, and Bowen was right behind him. All he had to do was get something on that, anything at all, and that's not in Bowen's path anymore, and that's not a goal. And I mean, look, just like everybody else, I'm sure, I took great pleasure in watching the replay with Rice realising exactly what he had or hadn't done and what had just happened. So look, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike the guy, I really appreciate everything that he did for us, and that will always live for, a long, long time, especially lifting the trophy for us. But look, he could have gone to any club, couldn't he? And he went to North London, so that's on him as far as I'm concerned. As soon as he stops playing in red, then maybe we can, maybe I can start talking about him a bit more fondly again in future, right? But yeah, look, I think he had a bad game. I think they were probably right to take him off. I think they looked a bit more solid after Rice had been taken off, to be fair. Not that it lasted very long with the sending off. Look, I think another person I want to sort of shout out there, actually, on the good side for West Ham, because do you know what? We had a load of really, really good performances today. I really don't think there was anybody out there that had a bad game. Again, a really, really solid team performance. But Ollie Scarles, mate, look, you looked every bit as good as an on-form Emerson would do. The only thing you've got to sort out there that we don't know yet, because it's really early days, is occasionally, every now and then, Emerson gets a goal, gets a screamer or something like that. Right? We haven't seen that from Scarles yet, not in the adult team. But there's always a little bit of time, and there's time for assists. I know he's got a good left foot on him, a good cross on him. So look, Ferguson or whatever future striker we have in there could be in good hands. I think it's going to be really difficult for Emerson to get back in, to be honest with you. I think, it's great to have a West Ham lad, a proper West Ham youth academy lad, back in the team. It's nice to see. Todibo, I mean, he had a great game today. I didn't feel nervous at all. When on that sort of side of the pitch, I normally feel a bit nervous, to be honest with you. And it's normally because it's Mavropanos in there, to be honest with you, or Sofal, but for different reasons. But today, I felt Todibo, he played a really, really great game. It was a shame to see him come off the pitch, to be honest with you. I think the commentary team of what I was watching was saying that they think it might have been pre-planned, like give him 60 minutes and he'll go off for the recent injuries. And I think they might have been right. And I think that's just because I didn't see him getting particularly leggy, to be honest. I felt he looked really, in control the entire game. I didn't feel like he was starting to drop off quality or effort or energy-wise. I thought it was a vast improvement on Mavropanos. Obviously, when he got taken off as well, if you want to see the old, well, of course you did. If you watched the game, swatted the ball away, literally like a basketball block, straight out of the Arsenal player's hands, which was quite funny. Got a yellow card for it, of course he did, but then he got immediately subbed off the pitch. So I think he probably knew that. Probably knew it was his time to come off, and just but yeah, it was a good laugh anyway. And as I say, I don't know that I fully agree with taking Todibo off, but Mavropanos just makes me nervous. I think he does for a lot of people as well. I think he's given us a lot of cause to make us feel a bit nervous. So minimising his game time, I think, is important, but. Even with that minimal amount of game time, he gave a free kick away in the D on the edge of the 18-yard box. And look, thankfully Arsenal were not on their game today, because that could have been, that could easily have been, could have been in. I mean, was it Calafiori or someone like that the last time? I can't remember who it was now. Or it might be a different team. But I seem to remember Mavropanos giving something away on the edge of the box and him just pinging it in. We were 1-0 up, I think, at the time. I can't remember the game now. It might even have been Newcastle or something. I don't know now, but I want to say it was Calafiori and Arsenal anyway. But yeah, it was definitely Mavropanos. It was a stupid decision on the edge of the box again, as per normal. And just swatting away with his leg. He was nowhere near it, and he thought he'd go at it again. You know, I think Betway needs to have a bit of a look at him, I reckon. Just a bit of a liability, isn't he? Just a bit of a liability. It was a game, obviously, a very tactical game. I think Potter got the tactics really right today. You know, Arsenal really struggle when you've got a crowded field ahead of them. They are quite a creative team, but obviously they've got a few injuries at the moment, which leads to their creativity, certainly from the right-hand side. And they were definitely lacking in that, in any creativity to kind of get the ball through us. They found it really difficult to break us down. And obviously, as I say, I think that's just that's a testament to the way that we set up today. I thought we looked really, really solid. I thought Kilman did a really, really good job as well. He did... I think he missed one. He went for it. It just went past his boot as it came across. That's probably the only mistake I remember from Kilman. Could have got punished on another day. Thankfully, it didn't. But yeah, look, we didn't have the lion's share of possession, but I don't think we needed it. I don't think it was that kind of game. As I say, I really felt that we showed we showed that we really could control the game, and we got the goal. And I think at that time it was coming, and I think. I think we deserved it, to be honest, albeit with a bit of a mistake from Rice. Yeah, Kudus had a great game. I thought Kudus played really, really, really well. I've got to give him his flowers when I can, because at the end of the day, look, he's had a really bad couple of games. I felt like there's been a couple of shows of brilliance here and there, but I think a lot of it is because he can be really selfish with the ball. He just doesn't look up. He's too busy trying to keep himself on his feet because he's normally got about 6 players on him at once, right? Which today, funnily enough, I don't think Arsenal really paid him much attention, and they really should have done for obvious reasons. And as soon as they started paying him attention, well, they got sent off. And look, I mean, it was great because he would look up at the right times. His decision making was on point. He'd play it at the right times. There was that one time though, just after he, this was after the substitution of Bowen, funnily enough, which I think actually they probably should have stuck to their guns, the coaching staff, and I think they probably should have taken off Kudus. Obviously, he was playing really, really well, but I do think he was a bit leggy at that point. And this is hindsight, right? Because at the time, when I heard his name coming over the speakers in the stadium, I was definitely not up for Kudus coming off the pitch for sure. And I thought, well, we'll take off Bowen, which is obviously what they did. But actually, I think that's actually ended up being the wrong move in the end, because there was a moment in time in the game right near the end where Kudus pretty much had one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and if he'd have turned it on, he's a pretty pacey guy. He's not like the fastest in the world. He's just really strong, right, and good low centre of gravity and whatnot. Stays on his feet well. But if he'd have gone for it, that'd have been one-on-one with Raya. That's a goal. But you had Ferguson running along with him, and I think he's heard that he needs to be a bit less selfish. And he didn't really take the run, and he ended up cutting back and passing it over to Ferguson. He killed the attack. It's not a Ferguson problem. This was a Kudus problem. Kudus really needed to take that, and I'll be honest, that would have been a goal. And if it wasn't, then that would have been all on Kudus. So that probably would have been one of the biggest misses of the season for Kudus. I would have said it was an incredible opportunity for him to do. Probably just a flinch there, hit my microphone, which is just down here. Yeah, I mean the foul on Kudus from Lewis-Skelly as well was an interesting one. Obviously, he got a yellow card first of all. Lewis-Skelly, he didn't have to do that at all. I don't know who it was. It was up on the other end on the other side of the field. But yes, it was a genuine goal scoring opportunity. So quite rightly, he got sent off. Right, the VAR looked at it again and they sent him off. Quite rightly so. Happened just about on the halfway line. But if Kudus breaks through, there's another defender, albeit he still needs to cut in from the other side of the field, and Raya. So you're kind of a 1-on-2 situation. It's not a 1-on-1 situation with the goalkeeper. So Lewis-Skelly didn't really have to do that. I mean, look, it happened anyway, and it took him off the field, and to be honest, probably took Arsenal out of the game at that point. So, you know, thankful it happened, but yeah, a bit of a bizarre decision. He was quite young though, so you know he'll learn obviously. But yeah, that was I think it was the second time in a month he's had a red card, so he needs to be careful. Look, Ward-Prowse. I thought he played really, really well today. It's just what we've been missing, I think. Not in the pace perspective, but just he works really, really hard. And he's got that ability with the kind of the way that we play. If we go up and attack, and if we lose the ball, as like, you know, sort of obviously Paqueta, who was missing today, if we would lose the ball from Paqueta in midfield or something like that, a bit of flair play, or Kudus, who's taken on 8 players and finally got dispossessed, then having someone like Ward-Prowse sitting back behind him is really useful because, you know, he is really, really, he has a great desire to very, very quickly go and get that ball back immediately. He doesn't sit back and wait for, you know, Arsenal or whoever it is to come to him. He'll immediately go to them to try and take the ball back immediately so he can pass it back off and sort of get ball back into our possession again. Not the most creative of players. Again, we all know his set-piece threat, although he hasn't done anything for us yet, specifically from free kicks. But he is really a great asset in midfield there to sort of help sort of shore up that centre-piece, right? So obviously, otherwise, everyone just kind of plays through us. And, you know, having someone like Ward-Prowse there is really useful. So I think it's the first clean sheet for Potter, apparently, since he's been, one of the commentators said. First clean sheet for him since he's been a West Ham manager in all competitions. So, as I said, I think it was a really great tactical performance from him. He set the team up perfectly well. Really, really pleased with the result. How could you not be? I'm going to go back into the office on Monday with a great big smile on my face. There's a few Arsenal fans in there, so that'll give me something to get up for in the week. Overall, as I say, very, very pleased with the performance and, of course, the result. We've got Leicester, Newcastle, Everton and Wolves coming up next. And, look, I want a minimum of 7 points from those games, and I think we can achieve it.